Good morning all of you. So now in this video we'll talk about the first factor, that is fuel or combustible substances. Okay, in detail. So this combustible substance we already discussed. Not all the substances are combustible substances, but some are of the combustible substance which easily burn to produce a lot of heat and light. So they are called combustible substances. So one such combustible substance has to be present in order to for the combustion to take place. Now the next is air. So why is air necessary for combustion? Why is air necessary for combustion? So we'll discuss about this. So now in order to understand this, what we will do is we will do a small experiment or a observation. Okay, so what we need is a candle which is already lit. So with the lighted candle, what do you see in the candle? If it is lit, it is like perfectly glowing. Okay, now if I take a glass and just put it over the candle, inverted, so what happens? Then you will see that the candle still glow for some time, but then after some time it goes off. The flame goes off. Why did this happen? Because we did not do anything to blow off the candle. So whatever you observed till now, just do one thing. Just note down the time on which the candle is burned, and after the candle was lit, even after the inverted glass we put over it, because for that also it just glow for some time. It glow for 1, 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, after 2-3 seconds it blow off automatically. So why did it go off? Because when we put this glass, it limited the amount of air which is being provided in the candle. When the glass was not there, the plenty of air is surrounded the candle, so it is not going off. But when we put this glass, so only that much amount of air that accommodated by the glass is available to the candle. So the candle utilize all the air which is present inside the glass, and after that when there is no air, there is no oxygen, the combustion did not happen and it just went off. Okay, so that's the first set of experiment that tell us that air or oxygen is necessary for combustion. So now we will do little more experiment to the same thing. Now what we can do is, I'll take the same candle, but now we'll change the glass. I will take the bigger glass. Okay, so when we take a bigger glass, the candle again blow for some time, but now note down the time in this case. So let us take now this time, the time will be 5 seconds. Okay, so now what we observe there, so the time for which the candle is blowing, see here also the candle will blow off, but what we observe here is the time taken by the candle to blow off is more than that for which the time taken by the candle in the first case. Okay, so in the second case the glass was bigger, it was a big glass, and in the first case it was a small glass. So when the glass was small, there was a less amount of air or oxygen present available to the candle. So the candle will blow off after some time. Okay, after 1 or 2 seconds. But now because of the bigger glass, a larger amount of air or oxygen is present, so the process of combustion will take place a little longer time. It takes a little longer than in the first case. Okay. So this proves that yes, air is very critical or is necessary for the purpose of combustion. Again, now if you want to do this experiment, what you can do is maybe just lift the glass a little bit upward. So when you lift it little bit upward, the gas is created here. Okay. But if you lift the glass, when you lift it, the some amount of air will enter through this place. Then in this case, the candle will not immediately go off. The flame flickers, but it does not blow off. Flickers for some time because the oxygen is now going exhausted inside the glass. Okay, but when we open from this side, the oxygen get available to this candle and it will not blow off. So here if the candle flickers, it flickers because of the limited supply of oxygen to it. In fact, you can trying out this experiment in different way also. Let us take one candle in an inverted glass, and in the second set, instead of one candle, take 3 candles of the same size. So what do you observe? In the first case, the candle burns for some time and then it goes off. In the second case, same thing happen. All the 3 candles, they blow off after some time. So let's take T2 is the time, and here the time will be T1. So in this case, the time taken by this candle to blow off is more as compared to this. Means T1 is greater than T2. Because here the amount of air that is available to this candle, the amount of air available to both the amount of air available in both the classes are same, but there are 3 candles to consume all the oxygen, and there are only 1 candle to consume the oxygen inside the glass. So it takes more time to blow off as compared to this. So it blows faster as compared to this. So the single candle burns for a longer time, and 3 candles burn. It take very less time. It does not blow for a longer time. Okay. So here it is proved that a combustion cannot be take place without air. So now the third characteristic is heat. So why is heat needed for combustion? Now before we talk about, let us think about some simple scenario. So think of a matchstick. How does a matchstick catch fire? Does the matchstick catch fire on its own? We need to do some effort. We just have to strike the matchstick against the side of the matchbox. Okay. Why do we strike it? Why does we need it to strike? That is because when we strike the matchstick with the matchbox, there is friction, and friction produces heat. And when this heat is produced, friction, it increases the temperature of the matchstick, and when the temperature of matchstick increases, it catches fire. So basically, this example tells that any combustible substances catches fire only when its temperature reaches ignition temperature. Now you might ask, what is ignition temperature? So now we will talk about this ignition temperature. So it is basically it is not that any substances catch fire anytime. No. So no, the substance that catch fire only when it reaches its ignition temperature. Okay. In order to that the temperature reaches to its ignition temperature, we have to provide it some heat. Only then will temperature will rise, and that is why heat is needed for combustion. Okay. So ignition temperature is the lowest temperature where the substances catches fire. So here the word ignition, has come from ignited, to ignite something. That means to ignite something, or to burn something, or to make something catch fire. Okay, that is ignition. Now this temperature is not same for different substances. Every substances will have its own ignition temperature. There are some substances which are having very low ignition temperature. So low ignition temperature means they can easily catch fire, because already the ignition temperature is low. For example, in your school the passing marks is 40. Okay. In another school the passing marks is 30. That means if you bring 40 out of 100 in your school, you will pass. And in another school, if they bring 30, if you bring 40 out of 100, you will get pass. But in another school, there is a 30. The passing marks is 30. That means if they bring 30 out of 100, they get pass. So because of the if the passing marks is lower, that is 30, it is easier to get pass. And if the passing marks is 60 means, then it is difficult to pass. So in the same way, if the ignition temperature is less, it is easier for the substance to catch fire, because that temperature is less. It is very easy to catch fire for a substance. That ignite temperature is very less. Okay. And if it is high, then it will not catch fire easily. So what do we say is substances with low ignition temperature catch fire more easily. So now you will be able to. So now I think you will be able to understand why do we need to strike matchstick. Because when you strike the matchstick, friction is involved. And friction produces heat, and this heat produces temperature. Okay, it increases the temperature of matchstick so that it can reach its ignition temperature. If you might ask if the matchstick is a combustible substance or not, so of course, if you look at the head of the matchstick, it is made up of a substance called phosphorus. And phosphorus is highly reactive. It reacts violently with air to catch fire. So it is one of the constituent. Not only phosphorus, but there are some other substances. Except this phosphorus, there are some other substances are also like sulfur and potassium. They are also present. So it is not only phosphorus that is present here, potassium chlorate also present. So we will discuss about this, how it is exactly work. But now we should just understand why heat is important for combustion. So every substance will have its ignition temperature. Now, in order to substance to reach its ignition temperature, some heat needs to be applied to that substance. So this is how we found that three criteria is very important for the process of combustion. That is the combustible substance, the heat, and the air. So let us prepare some more examples for different substances with the different ignition temperature. So if you look, if you take an example of a combustible substances, like a paper, it is a combustible substances, and if we'll take wood, it is also a combustible substances. So in the first example is a paper, and the second example is a log of wood. So if you bring a small matchstick near the piece of a paper, what do you see? It immediately catches fire because the ignition temperature of the paper is lower. Okay, it is comparatively lower than this. As soon as you provide a little burning matchstick near it, it increases its ignition temperature, then it catches fire. Where when you bring matchstick near it, it might not readily catch fire. Whereas if you take this burning piece of paper in front of these logs of wood, then it will catch fire. That means the entire burning paper provide more heat than a matchstick to the wood, so that the ignition temperature, because the ignition temperature of the wood is little higher, so it needs more time to catch fire. Here the ignition temperature of the wood is somewhere around 300 degrees Celsius, and the ignition temperature of paper is 218 to 245 degree Celsius. Its temperature ranges between these. So that's why, so this is the roughly temperature of these substances. So whichever object will have a lower ignition temperature will easily catch fire. Now when we talk about the ignition temperature, we'll talk about two important concepts. One is flash point and the other is auto ignition temperature. Now what are these two and how they are different from each other? Now any combustible substance, one way is the substance is so highly reactive that it can catch fire on its own. So just that if you heat the substances, it immediately catch fire on its own. The second thing is the substance always need a source to ignite it. For example, certain things need something else to initiate the process of combustion. So when we talk about flash point, it is the lowest temperature at which a substance can vaporize to form an ignitable mixture in air. So in case of flash point, ignition source is needed. So we need an external substance in order to start the process of ignition. So let us take an example. For example, if you think of kerosene, so kerosene is a combustible substances, right? So if we talk about the flash point of kerosene, it is somewhere around 38 to 72 degree Celsius. That is the flash point of kerosene. Now what do we mean through the flash point of the kerosene? Now if you compare the flash point of kerosene with that of wood, you will find that the flash point of wood, it is quite higher as compared to the kerosene. Now since wood have a higher flash point as compared to the kerosene, so the kerosene catches fire more easily. Now if you have two scenario, in the first scenario you have few logs of wood, and in the second scenario you have few logs of wood with kerosene filled over it. So which of these two will catch fire easily? Obviously the second one, because it has kerosene in it and kerosene has a lower flash point. So it will be very easily to ignite the log of food in the second case. So when you bring the matchstick near it, so it is a ignition source. So when you bring the matchstick near the log of wood, so the kerosene converted into a vapor, and during this vaporization we see it as a fire. So this flash point is just actually indicate the combustibility of a substance. So whichever the substance will have higher flash point, its combustibility is lesser. Now similarly, if you look at the flash point of diesel, so in diesel it has a flash point of 52 to 96 degrees Celsius. So now why do we have this range? That means anywhere in between these two ranges, any temperature in between these two ranges, it can catch fire, okay, if ignition source is present. Now next concept is auto ignition temperature. Auto means self. So it is the lowest temperature at which a substance ignites spontaneously. So in this case you really do not need any ignition source. So when a combustible substance reaches this temperature, it ignites on its own. Okay. Now if we talk about the same kerosene, we know that the kerosene have a flash point of 52 to 96 degrees Celsius. Means the kerosene, if you talk about the flash point of kerosene, it will be somewhere 295 degree Celsius temperature. Okay. So that means within that temperature, within the range of that temperature, it will ignite. It can be ignited if any ignition source is present. But if there is no ignition sources there, it will not catch fire on its own until and unless it reaches the temperature of 295. So let us talk about that, and let us take an example. If there is no external source, then after attaining this temperature 295, kerosene attain fire on its own. So please understand the difference between the flash point is only when there is an external source, so that the object catch fire, and an auto ignition means you do not need any source to catch fire, okay, on its own. It can catch fire on its own. It does not need any source. Not even a single source is needed in auto ignition. Okay, source is not needed. No ignition source. So take example of coal. The auto ignition temperature of a coal is around 500 degrees Celsius. So we need to, so you have to heat the coal to this temperature, to 500 degrees Celsius temperature. Then it catches fire on its own. Okay. And that is what happened in coal mine. We have discussed about coal mines also. So coal formation takes place in deep under the ground. Okay, wherever there is a deep, huge coal mines, sometimes what's happened is, if the temperature increases so much, maybe like 500 degrees Celsius, then the coal get ignited spontaneously on its own, and that is how we have a coal fire. Okay. You can take the example of wood also. So in case of wood, we have seen that the ignition temperature was 350 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay, so if wood is heated to 300 degree Celsius temperature, then it reacts with oxygen in the air, and then how it catches fire. So whenever we talk about the auto ignition temperature, it is a temperature to which we heat a particular substances, then that substances catch fire on its own. So that is what auto ignition temperature. It also indicates the combustibility of a substance. So the substance which have a higher auto ignition temperature, so that substance do not catch fire easily. For example, if you compare the coal and wood, if you heat both the coal and wood, which will catch fire faster? Wood, because as soon the wood reaches the temperature 300 degrees Celsius, it can catch fire. Whereas in coal, if it reaches 500 degrees Celsius, then it catches fire. Okay. So any object or both these objects, the flash point and the auto ignition temperature, both needed for the means both these things, flash point and auto ignition temperature, both these indicate the combustibility of the substance. So both of those indicate the combustibility. Okay. So knowing this value, we can predict which substances will catch fire more easily than other. And knowing combustibility of various substances, we can choose each of them for various purposes. For example, in the cylinder which we use in our kitchen, so what kind of fuel do we use in our kitchen? Do we use coal or we use LPG? Obviously we use LPG, because we know that we have learned that the properties of LPG has many advantages, like it does not cause any pollution and it is a clean fuel. But other than that also, we know that the ignition temperature of LPG or the flash point of this fuel LPG is better than coal. Okay, so when you are preparing food, you deal with a specific temperature. So while keeping the cylinder in your house in a room temperature, so actually the cylinder is exposed to the room temperature. So basically you can decide whether that particular fuel is suitable for that purpose, for lowering its auto ignition temperature or flash point or not. Okay, thank you.